the intro music. Yeah! Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I actually want to just say thank you for watching this channel and participating in so much of the work that I do to try to make this game better for all of you. Now, what we're going to do today is actually do a quarterly review. I asked many of you in our live streams, would you like to see something like that? We even talked about it in the Discord a bit. Link for the Discord in the description of this video. If you're not sure how to get to those things, well, I want everybody to have access, and I'm including more to the Facebook page. So if you look up RD Pirate Gaming, we're on Facebook as well. Just trying to make sure that you're more involved with this game as we try to make it better. Now, in simple terms, what we're going to do in today's quarterly review is go over the first 3 months and go over the grades that y'all provided and the data that we gathered as a team. So shout out to Archduke, all of his people, everybody who participated in the survey. A lot of people made this possible. And what I'm going to do is give you the simple versions and then the more in-depth versions. So the simple version is going to look like this. So this is January 2023. This is going over what was the best thing, what was the worst thing, and overall notes and stuff in here at the bottom, and whether it passed or failed. So the average player grade, taking all the grades that y'all submitted, over 1,000 players for January, was a C, with the officers being a C+, best value being Hugh. Now, I will say that if you look at this 3 months later, I would actually say if you went back, and this is going to be an opportunity for y'all to make comments and see if you agree or disagree. I think if we ran this back, you would actually have a higher grade than this, particularly with the officers, because of how valuable Hugh has become, and they've been much better at sourcing. Hugh is now sourced not only through the epic solo armadas that you have for Borg, but you've also had him sourced in other ways, whether it be the event store going on right now or whatever. So you're getting opportunities to go after him, even though he was a primo officer in the beginning. So I think that value has probably gone up, and more people are giving that value some recognition. Now, the worst graded segment was the feature, which essentially resulted in more grinding. And I think that has still improved a little bit. We'll go over in details the feature, in a second. I think that generally speaking, though, it got better long term, but in the beginning was a negative. And I think for understandable reasons. Now, you're curious, this is the kind of like Cliff Notes version. What's the real version look like? Well, I'll transition and show you. So here are the responses based on ops level, grading, etc. But this is the raw data. We took it a step further. So this is the data that I worked with. See the event calendar. We can see A, B, C, D. And granted, because I don't want this video to be 20 minutes long, y'all can grab it. But here is what we're working off of. Now, real quick, yes, I am open to making all of this data available to you as players. But this is also the background work that is so difficult. It's taking every individual response, creating heat maps based on what level summaries broke down, grades, what ops levels, what regions, and then actually taking what were the most common words, and are they positive, are they negative, neutral. For example, the features, the grind was extremely negative in the addition, and even go over some of that here on the right side. Calendar also seemed pretty negatively because of the amount of grind. Now keep in mind that when it comes to comments generally are going to sway more negative than votes will. We don't get as many comments as we do generalized votes. So that makes this process a little bit more difficult than maybe it could be. I guess I enjoy it, but it's a lot of data to sift through. And you'll see, for example, like the officers, that the A+ skewed to the 40 through 49s because of Hugh. I think more and more people are going to value him, especially getting Borgs at 40+, but now that you get the event store allowing players to get him a little bit earlier, you're going to see more players like him and value him. But this is the full version. And again, all this information I'm glad to make available to y'all. All you got to do is ask if that's what you want to do. Here is February. So we went from a C to a D+. Definitely not the direction you want to go if you're a franchise. It got worse. But the best graded segment was the Talios. Now, here's the tricky thing about the Talios. It wasn't good. I mean, it was, but it wasn't at the same time. It was both. And by both, I mean that the Talios is a great ship. Tier 3, it finally passes the Vidar if you've got the skin and everything, but it does take time. Its refinery is not super well loved, but the sourcing on it was perfecto, right? We had immediate sourcing to where you didn't have to scrap your original. You got to keep it and use it if you needed it or wanted it. Then you got a new ship through a mission set. And generally speaking, almost every player, no matter the level range, gave that a positive grade. It's one of the highest grade individual ships that the game has ever had. And in terms of us going through this rubric that we've created, it is definitely the highest grade of any ship. And I think it will outgrade the Titan, which we've yet to grade, but I really struggle to see the Titan doing better than this. Now, the worst was the mix between feature and calendar, which both got corresponding D grades. Both not really approved of by the general player base. Now, this is an overall. We can actually go very specific. So if we come way over here and say, well, let's look at just the ships. We can actually see where the grades were, the heat maps were, the percentages of each grade when it comes to things, the comments of each grade we went through and went, what are the most common words used going those. Again, this information can be made available if you would like it. But generally speaking, people did not like the features nor the calendar for this month. Now, I do make notes towards the end. To date, the biggest gripes for this month, February, have not actually been addressed, which was the expansion cubes and the disjointed calendar. I'm mostly focusing on the expansion cubes there, and I gave it a barely passing grade. It's D+. Technically, a D is a pass, but it's barely passing, and it's not good, right? That's not what any game should strive for, is barely passing. You want to have everything kind of run out well, and I thought that there were some things that they did do pretty well. For example, the Talios was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. But let's go beyond the Talios real quick, and let's go just let you look at the pie charts in terms of officer grading. C's, D's, that's not good. We don't want that. And you know, 7 of 9 has come out recently to try to make Assimilate better as a whole, but generally speaking, people weren't very impressed with it. But the ship, they were. Look at massive A+, then A, then B. Much, much loved. But the feature, it was meh, right? But then you get down to what made it bad right here. Expansion cubes. Big old smattering of an F. That is what really brought it down. And hailing frequencies, people like, so many people hate hailing frequency. I was like, no, they don't. It's split. There's a large portion that hate it, and then there's also a large portion who like it / just don't really care. It's split about 50-50. Personally, I like hailing frequencies. But for all those that are like, yeah, 99% of the game hates it, well, here's your data to prove otherwise. Doesn't mean that I'm fighting for hailing frequencies in either direction. It's just that sometimes it's good for us all to take a step back and realize, hey, maybe what we think, including myself, isn't what the community thinks. And there's obviously enough of a portion here to justify continuing that stuff being in the game, right? Right. At least I hope you would agree with that. That's data. We like data points. Data points are fun. At least there are for me. And then we've got the event calendar here, which you can see A, B, C, mostly passing, but lots of rippers in the comments. And you saw all that data. Anyway, going over here, we're going to jump into this again, do this a little bit more. With March, this is where it was more of a positive. March finally getting into a positive grade. Now, C+ to B, the average player grade is a smidge skewed. You didn't have a ship here, but you did have the mess hall, really liked. X-Borg as a whole, really liked. And I do want to point out this note that the Borg store actually received a pretty bad rating in terms of value in the month of March. But I think the store has definitely gotten more value. It's now giving you the sourcing for the brand new ship, the Titan A, which shout out to the Titan A. I think it's an okay ship, but you got immediate sourcing to the Borg store there. And in general, I think once people make through the research tree, they will see the Borg store having more value for helping complete dailies quicker. It's going to be another time saver. It's just going to be months before people realize that. But this was a pass and a good grade. Anything that gets around C+ B is a good grade for the game. This was a good month overall. See, X-Borg even had the calendar improving, with the only real negatives being the officers. They're so niche. And then we had the problem where Beverly was broken and it took content creators to really push that issue to get it fixed, where players necessarily weren't that happy. But that was the biggest negative, were the officers. But as a whole, you saw an improvement from January, February to March. February is a dip down, but this is the type of month we'll accept. A passing month, a good month, and hopefully we'll have the same thing here. But if we go over quarter one, if we're talking as a whole, quarter one, we had a C- grade, a D+ grade, and then a B- grade. we're right in that C average. It's passing, but obviously things need to get better. And the big thing is consistency with issues here and there. Like the calendar can be awful one month and great the next in terms of how players are grading it. The officers are meh to amazing. There's just little things that I think Scopely could do to make things better, and this data is going to help us give that to them, and hopefully they can continue to make the game overall an enjoyable experience for all of us, and hopefully more things like March. Now, I said it before, March should have been an A+ month, slam dunk, and it ended up faltering as it went on. But at the end of the day, it was definitely a pass, and we need more of that, and more so than just passing. We need it to be good. So if you thought this video was good and any of this information was helpful, and a big thank you to all those who help with that information, like the video and subscribe so we can push more stuff like this to our overlords. And yeah, if you haven't already, come join me on Twitch because Diablo is popping off, man. I'm gonna be playing Diablo 4 and we're doing STFC as well. So if you enjoyed the video, again, like it, live long and prosper, stay safe for those Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on the next one. I'm outie.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.